Did you notice that the new Garfield trailer is filled with references to famous characters from both real life and cartoons? Or that there's an Easter egg involving the greatest love story in the world of fiction? When Odie pushes Garfield's armchair, we see John reading a book. If you look closely, you'll see that the book cover is a parody of Shakespeare's famous love tale, Romeo and Juliet. However, it has a slightly different title. It's written as Romeo and Mewliet, a feline adaptation of the tragic love story Garfield style, which already hints at things related to John that we'll talk about later in this video. That's the first of the 16 amazing Easter eggs and details we found in the new Garfield trailer to show you now. I hate Mondays. In the same scene where John is reading the Shakespeare adaptation in Garfield's universe, we can notice in the top right corner a picture of the lasagna-loving cat holding his traditional mug that everyone would love to have, saying, "I hate Mondays." I gotta say, on this one, I'm with Garfield. Instagram Meow Meow Chef. In the following scene, we see Garfield turning on the TV and watching a lasagna video, which suits him well since it's his favorite food. But if you look closely, you'll see that he's watching a video from the @thatlittlepuff profile, which is a real cooking profile. However, the videos are presented in a way that apparently it's a fluffy and cute cat doing the cooking. The profile picture is even a photo of the cat, titled Meow Chef. Garfield is definitely right. Gotta appreciate his kind. Lazy cats who love to eat. Pop chips! Here we can see good old product placement happening, as on one side of Garfield there's a huge bucket of popcorn, but on the other side there's a bag of pop chips in nacho cheese flavor. The brand of chips and snacks that had Ashton Kutcher and Katy Perry as spokespeople now has Garfield as a partner promoting the brand, and eating a lot of it too. Liz! This is one of the things most fans were waiting to see in the movie. Liz. The character is the veterinarian responsible for trying to keep Garfield alive for as long as possible, since he's a cat who eats very poorly and therefore needs almost constant medical supervision. Poor Scale must have felt the literal weight of having the famous Garfield on it. John's love. But Liz isn't just Garfield's vet, she's also John's crush, Garfield's owner. And you can tell by his silly expression that he's totally smitten with the movie's pet doctor. In the comics and older cartoons, we can see that after many rejections and lots of persistence, John finally managed to date Liz. Patience pays off. Well, sometimes. And to give John that support, subscribe to our channel here so you don't miss our next amazing videos about movies and animation. Kitty Pop. When we see Garfield and Odie in front of the fridge full of food, we can see something that seems to be another attempt at product placement, but this time for a soda brand. If you look closely behind Garfield and Odie on the fridge door, there's a huge soda bottle with the name Kitty, which may be a reference to the Kitty Piddle soda pop brand, known for having strange names and having a cat as its mascot logo. Which makes sense, since everything in the movie so far has a lot to do with cats, since it's Garfield's movie. Pencil on the fence. When we see the outside of John's house, we notice it's a beautiful blue house, with a chimney and a garage, pretty normal like thousands of other houses. It even has a cute white fence in front. But besides being cute, it's quite unusual, as in the middle of it there's nothing less than a giant pencil. This is a tribute to Garfield's creator, Jim Davis, who had the pencil as one of his main work tools, just like John, Garfield's owner, who is also a cartoonist in the story, the same profession as Jim. Now tell me, you definitely didn't notice this one, did you? Tri-Valley. When we see Garfield being kidnapped and stuffed into a sack, we notice the two henchman dogs doing this enter an abandoned mall, but we can make out one of the names cut in the scene, just by the letters we see and the pieces of incomplete ones. The name of the place is Tri-Valley. This is a reference to a region in California that is full of beautiful vineyards, mountains, and natural beauty, almost like a slice of paradise. Or someone from the team that made the Garfield movie is a big fan of the place, or maybe is from there. At least, that's what we think. Binky again. If there's one thing Garfield hates more than Mondays, it's a guy named Binky, the completely unfunny clown, but who is kind of a celebrity in Garfield's reality, just like Krusty is in The Simpsons. But Garfield hates him because he makes a lot of noise and disturbs his sleep. And in the last trailer, we saw Binky in several parts. And in this new trailer, it's no different, as he appears exactly on the cereal box John is eating in his kitchen. And if you're one of those, like me, who likes to occasionally disturb someone's peace, comment below, #Binky, Garfield's clown who is an inspiration for those who like to annoy someone. Crossword puzzles. And when John is in the kitchen, we notice a very interesting detail. Actually, not one, but two details. If you look closely at his table, you'll notice there's a newspaper with a pin on top. And if you zoom in, you'll see that the part facing up is a crossword puzzle, very common in newspapers back when they were printed. This is exactly the same newspaper that's on the table when Garfield is startled by a huge spider. I just think Garfield is too lazy to even do crossword puzzles. The Flash! Now surely the Easter egg that everyone who watched the trailer noticed for sure. When Garfield seems to be asking a new friend to help him get back to the train to try to save his father, we see that he's wearing a somewhat heroic outfit, which makes sense since he's trying to save his father. And the outfit he's wearing is simply unmistakable, since it's obvious he's dressed up as the Flash, one of the founding members of the Justice League. After all, that lightning bolt on his helmet is the trademark of the fastest man alive. I just didn't quite understand the cape, but it still looks pretty cool. Dressing up as Flash is a bit ironic for someone as heavy and lazy as Garfield, don't you think? Kenny G. In this new Garfield trailer, we can see that besides eating as much as he can, he knows very well how to choose owners who pick good restaurants. That's because the place where Jon and Garfield meet for the first time seems to be a place frequented by big music celebrities. The evidence of this is that on the boards behind Jon, we can see some of the biggest musical influences of recent decades. Like, for example, we can see a Garfield World version of the one considered the greatest saxophonist of all time, Kenny G. You can tell by the long reddish hair and the saxophone he holds, which is clearly a reference to the internationally famous musician, Freddie Mercury. And Kenny G isn't alone among the pictures on the wall. In it, we can see there are other singers. And we can distinguish another world-famous musician, none other than Freddie Mercury. He's right below, and we can see that he's the lead vocalist of Queen, the English rock band that was very successful in the 80s and 90s with songs that marked generations. If you're doubting, you can ask your parents or grandparents. And he's being honored in the Garfield trailer. I guess someone on the Garfield team enjoys older music. Mama Luchia! Still talking about the restaurant where Jon meets Garfield, we discovered some details that might lead us to its real-world version. First, we notice it's an Italian restaurant, as the entrance has the colors of the Italian flag on its awning. Additionally, when Garfield enters the place and wreaks havoc on practically everything in sight, we can see a multitude of Italian dishes, like spaghetti with meatballs, pizzas, and lasagnas. But what really probably gives away the real version of the restaurant we see in the movie is the quick moment when we see Jon looking at the restaurant menu, where we can see the name Mama and below it the letter L. According to our investigations, the restaurant chain that fits perfectly into this description is the Maryland-based Italian restaurant chain Mama Luchia. If I've guessed right, I hope someone from some Italian restaurant sends a pizza to my house as a prize. Ghost coffee maker. Now, let's talk about what seems to be a small logic error in the trailer scenes. When Garfield and Odie open the fridge, note that there's a coffee maker on the counter and it's right in the middle of the window, at least from this perspective we're looking at. The detail is that in the very next scene in the trailer, we can see a somewhat sinister rain with winds and lightning falling outside Jon's house. But if you look closely, you'll notice that where the coffee maker was, there's now actually a faucet. Those were the 16 sensational details and Easter eggs we managed to locate in the new Garfield trailer, which promises to be an absolutely amazing movie. I'm really looking forward to watching the Garfield movie. While it hasn't arrived yet, we've picked out these two videos for you to watch and enjoy. Just choose whichever suits you best. Click and have fun.